4 asks us about property of proportions. So it states use the proportion listed below and complete the proportions given in options A through C and give the property of proportions that was used. So typically it's in the similarity unit, you're introduced to these particular properties and they just allow you to basically manipulate fractions or ratios. So here we go. What they're asking for at A is if I have, let's look at the equivalence statement real quick. We have 2 divided by 7 equals 4 divided by x, or we can say 2 to 7 equals 4 to x. And we have in option A, we have 2 times x. So I recognize here in this particular case that they've actually cross multiplied. Cross multiplication is a huge, we use this in chemistry, in physics, in algebra 2, pre-cal. It's all over the place. You need to understand if you have 2 ratios here that are equivalent and you have a variable somewhere that you can cross multiply to solve. And basically it helps you ditch the fractions and solve for an unknown. Like in this case, we have x here. So I recognize that I'm going to go ahead and switch to blue. 2 times x, and then we would just say equals, maybe use purple, 4 times 7, right? 4 times 7, which ultimately would give us 28. All right, and that's called using, I called it cross multiplication. It's technically called the cross products property, all right? So I'll write it next to here, cross products property. Now on option B, I'll go ahead and just need to erase something real quick. There we go. All right, so now we have 7 over 2. 7 over 2. And you can easily identify that we took 2 over 7 and we just flipped it. And we call that creating a reciprocal. And that's actually called the reciprocal property. So we can actually say 7 over 2 equals x over 4. Okay, and that would be the reciprocal. Reciprocal property. Part C, I saved the best for last here. We have 9 over 7. So clearly we do not have a 9 anywhere, but do recognize, and this is a special, I'll go ahead and write A over B equals C over D. I'm just going to write an example using all variables here so you can see what's going on. What you can do is you can actually make this statement. Okay, and that's really what we're doing here is we are simply adding 7 over 7. So we're adding a clever form of 1. So if I look at 2 over 7 here and I add 7 over 7, I have 9 over 7. So what did I do in this particular situation? I just added a clever form of 1, which means what I did on the left side, I also need to do on the right side. So now I have 4 over x, and my denominator happens to be x. So I just add x over x. I have 4 plus x over x. Now, what's on the left is just a shortcut, right? I just added 7 on the top, and then I added x on the top, and then combine them. They have the same denominator. So yes, you can do that. And then ultimately, we ended up with this answer right here. So it's 4 plus x all over x. And we have it's called the addition property of proportions, addition property. You can also subtract. So I could take A minus B. In this particular case, I'll just write it for clarity down here. A minus B over B equals C minus D over D. And that's a true statement as well. We just subtracted 1 instead of adding 1 to both sides. And we would call that the subtraction property of proportions. But in this case, it's addition property. Addition property of proportions. All right, that covers A through Z. Thanks for watching again.